guys, Julia here. So I feel like cell phones have been thought of so far as a detriment to writing and to creativity and inspiration. They can be very distracting, and it can be really easy to lose focus and lose track of where you are when you're using your cell phone, or even have it off to the side and those notifications pop up and instantly you lose focus. I read something somewhere that it takes 15 minutes for you to fully refocus after you've been distracted, and to me that sounds about right. It takes a very long time to get back in the train of thought that you were in after something distracts you. But there are many tools on our cell phones that can be used to actually help our writing and creative processes. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to use your cell phone to help you. Tip number one, which I utilize a ton when I am writing or doing something creative, is do not disturb. I don't like turning my phone completely off whenever possible, because at least for my phone it takes so long to reboot, and then sometimes notifications come in wonky and it's just weird. But do not disturb is a great way to make sure your phone doesn't make noise or vibrate, but then whenever you want to just check in, you can just press the home button and real quick you can see everything that you need to in a quick second, and you don't have to wait for your phone to reboot or anything. It basically makes your phone act like it's turned off, but you're still receiving notifications so you can check it at any point. Just make sure that you turn it off, do not disturb, because I put my phone on do not disturb and then lost it, and then when I try to call it, it doesn't work or vibrate or anything, so that can be a little tricky. But as long as you use do not disturb the times that you're working, it'll really help you and make sure notifications don't distract you. Tip number two is probably one of the more straightforward ones, is to use timers. So I use timers a lot because I lose track of time very easily when I get absorbed into a video or a project. So whenever you want to make sure that you only spend a certain amount of time doing something, use the timer on your phone. Whether it's something as simple as scrolling Instagram, or how long you want to work on a certain scene, or how long you want to plot for. Just using those timers can help track your day and give it a much more exact time, rather than glancing at the clock and saying, oh, around such and such time I'll end. Let your phone remember that for you, and it just makes things a lot easier. Tip number three is something I just realized is a thing recently. I'm not sure if you can use this on all devices, but I know on iPhones you can actually set limits for apps. So for me, I set limits on YouTube, Instagram, a lot of those social media apps. I know Instagram in their newest update has one of those programs built into it, so you don't even need an iPhone to use it. If you just go into settings, you can set a timer for however long you want. It can be 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you need, and it'll just give you a little pop-up saying, oh, you've reached your limit for the day. And for me, that's really helpful, because a lot of times I'll just be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and if I don't have the foresight to set a timer, that notification can be very helpful. There's also a screen time function in your settings of your phone, which lets you know how much time you've spent per app per day, and that can also be a more exact way to figure out where you're spending most of your time. And you can use that to think about how that time is being used. Is it being used effectively, or maybe do you need to cut down some of the apps? So make sure that you're using your screen time effectively. Tip number four is to download an app that has daily inspiration. So there's a lot of apps I know that you can set a timer for and have you at a certain time give you a daily quote of inspiration for today. Or if you are religious, it can give you a Bible quote or some sort of quote that's tapered to what your interests are. There's also programs that you can text and have them text you a daily inspiration or a daily quote for the day. Some people find them distracting, but for me, I find that it's nice when I have tons of notifications scrolling through and not all of them are positive. It's nice to have one consistently positive thing to look forward to during the day. I also find that if I set it for like a time in the middle of the day, like noon or 1 o'clock, sometimes it'll be during a really stressful time of the day, and it's nice to get that notification and just remind myself, you're doing good. It's all good. And last but not least, tip number 5. Again, I'm sorry, this probably should have been for iPhones only because this is an iPhone tip. But in iPhone settings, there's another new feature that they've added called bedtime. So basically, you can set your bedtime from a certain times to a certain time, and it basically shuts down all of your apps except for the major apps like messaging and phone calls and stuff like that. Now, you can access those apps if you want to. You have have to tap on it, and then it says ignore limit, and you can ignore the limit for 15 minutes or for the entire day. So you can choose, if you know that you're going to be using your Google email for a while after your set bedtime, then you can just ignore the limit for that day. But it's a nice reminder to see all of those apps darkened and with the little hourglass, just to remind yourself, hey, should be going to bed soon, should be shutting down soon. And for me, at least, that's a nice reminder, because again, I can just keep scrolling for hours and hours. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you learned a little bit about what you can use in your phones and in your cell phones to make sure that you stay on task and stay productive. If you would like to buy my debut novel, The Scavenger, it is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle editions, so I'll leave those links down below. If you would like to buy a signed copy, you can buy that via my website, and I'll leave that down below as well. Thank you for stopping by. Bye!